Started out a couple of weeks ago trying to come up with different ways to use the Sennelier oil pastels, which I love. They are so soft and buttery. It's like just gentle silk working through your fingers when you're working with them. But they have a tendency to both smudge, like we have here, and they have a tendency to either halo or seep out into the paper, taking a little bit of the oil that we find around the edges. So my goal has been to try to find a way to use a common substance or a common surface, like my cardboard. Great idea, try to use it, recycle it, and use it for other things. Since I do a lot of florals, I like the idea of the ridges here, which would add to the ridging of the leaves of the florals and the pieces that I use. But how do I keep it from seeping or haloing out and spreading the oil? So the first thing I did was try using a set of student grade oil pastels. They have a very different texture to them. If you pick them up, you'll find that they have, they're harder. They're not anywhere near as soft as the Sennelier are. And I can't find the substance on them, so I don't know why they would be harder, whether they have either maybe something along the line of a paraffin or a wax added to the oil to help make it stronger and stable. But what I did was I started by trying to outline my shape here with the same color in the student grade pastel, okay, or the harder substance, and then outline it, and then go ahead and follow up with Sennelier's beautiful oil sticks or oil pastels and keep them within that line. I found that I had a hard time, because they were the same color, not going over the edge. So on the second one, you'll notice that I tried outlining it initially with a different color and then came back in with Sennelier's soft oil pastel sticks and filled my color in, blended it, and moved through it. Now, today is, I believe, the 12th or 13th of January. I did this on January 1st. I picked up some new supplies yesterday, so I want to try a couple of other ideas. One of the ideas I had was that maybe if we used something like these, which are your China markers that have a good solid, probably waxy surface to them, and if we came through and created our line, if you notice there's going to be a really sharp line here, so I don't know how this is going to work. This is my first test on it, okay? But if we created the sharp line around our shape, whatever shape we were going to use, that maybe that would keep our really soft oil pastels from bleeding out, so we could still work within that surface, just not going over that line, and kind of keep it set in there. So this is kind of my first experiment with it. We'll get that in there. I forgot my little rag, didn't I? Here. Okay, let's get that off the fingers if we can. And we're going to try doing the same thing over here. Again, creating some kind of a barrier so that the oil and the oil pastel, will not exceed past it. Let's take a white. Again, even though these are the same colors, okay, we'll see if we can stay within them. And then the goal today would be to turn around and let these sit. So we're gonna set these up, and I'm gonna come back to them in about 2 weeks. And I'm trying to see if the China marker will blend in there with that oil pastel, but keeping it from actually seeping or haloing. The other thing that I picked up yesterday, let's move this out of the way. The other thing that I picked up yesterday was some additional grades of oil pastels. So I have these here by Pentel. I haven't pulled them out. You can see they're brand new container. So we're going to try those, see how soft they are, see how much wax or hardness, paraffin, whatever they're using in there. I don't know. I have no idea that they might be using to make them a little harder. And I picked up a set of, as you can see, junior artists. So these are student grade oil pastels, lots of different colors in them. Don't know how hard they are. So we're gonna take our cardboard and basically set up an imaginary line here. And at the top we will use one, and at the bottom we'll use the other and test them out as well. So it doesn't matter what color you're using. So at the top, we're gonna start with the junior ones here, the junior artist pastels, and use them. So let's find something like our oranges and yellows, and we'll put those over here so I can try them out. And we'll start there. Now that has a very definite feel to it. All right. Again, basic shape. I'm just trying to do a basic shape so we can test this out. We're going to come over here and pick up our Sennelier oil pastel. I just love using them. And we're going to come back over here and get as close to that edge as we can without going over it. And then we will test that in a couple of weeks and see what's happening with it. So we'll come back over here and use this one as well. All right. Let's see if I have, I got a yellow. We're gonna have to use the yellow. It's the closest one. We'll see how that goes. Maybe that's a good idea. That way we can see if we go over the border and the edge of it. All right, soft oil pastels. Again, by the way, I am not an affiliate with Sennelier. I have used their products over the years, love them beautifully. Great acrylic paints, great oil paints, but have not actually worked with them in any way. All right, so the next one down here that we're going to use is this other set by Pentel. So we're going to come over here and use those. Let's pick some different colors. Oh, let's pick the same colors. Maybe we'll do that. So down here we're going to come down. Now this is a much harder, just feeling and working with it. This is a much harder oil pastel. And let's pull out our Sennelier red. Okay, so I want to get as close to that as I can without going over it. Let's see if we can keep this from haloing. Come over here with a little bit more. All right, let's rub those together. And I realize that the straight line is not what you would normally have in your artwork, but I think it's probably the best way for us to test this. All right, so we've got that. Let's go over here and get a yellow. Again, much harder oil pastel to get to work. So let's get that up there and take our Sennelier yellow again. We're going to come over here. You can see the difference in it. And as close to my edge as I can without going over that. I'm going to blend it. Make sure we're not blending and going over it. Okay. And again, my goal is to see what happens down the road using this kind of paper. So now I've got two setups, and we're going to mark these up. All right. So we have the Pentel down here at the bottom, and we have the junior crayon up here at the top. See how these work? And I'll come back to them in a couple weeks. Look forward to sharing that information with you and see what we get. We also have, don't forget, I'll put this here, we also have the China markers. See how these play out. And we know that they have a much higher waxy or consistency to them in some way, whatever material that they're using for them. All right, till then, let's go ahead and get started with my work for the rest of the day, and I will see you all in a couple weeks and see how this is played out. Bye now.